Remember when this little bunny-eared fellow caused a hostage situation? Let's go back.
Tamagotchi, the Y2K.
There have been many great wars fought on the battlefields of carbs, salts, sugars, and fats. There was Burger King and McDonald's as the battle of the Whopper versus the Big Mac took center stage, somehow ending with two of the creepiest mascots in fast food still standing. There was Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, which some may say culminated with Michael Jackson being set on fire. But it was the Great Pizza Wars that took over the 1980s. There were many franchises vying for pizza supremacy in the 80s, including Godfather Pizza,
Godfather's Pizza.
Do it.
Shakey's,
We serve on at Shakey's, also pizza. Shakey's!
Little Caesars,
Little Caesar's Pizza, the one that kicks you to.
Pizza Inn,
For pizza out, it's pizza in.
Showbiz Pizza Place, which would later become Chuck E. Cheese.
You've never seen a place like Showbiz Pizza Place.
Even McDonald's tried hopping into the trenches with their McPizza, which was the embodiment of showing up to a gunfight with a knife. However, the two biggest players in the pizza game at that time were Domino's and Pizza Hut. And soon Domino's Pizza would unleash their greatest weapon yet, in the form of a tiny humanoid in a red bunny onesie. Like most fast food franchises, Pizza Hut and Domino's have quaint origins. In the 1950s, pizza was foreign to the United States, but it was catching on fast. It was also cheap to start a pizza business. All you needed was a pizza oven and space for your startup kitchen, and we'll soon come to learn from Domino's business model you didn't even need that big of a space. Pizza Hut came first in 1958 when brothers Frank and Dan Carney opened the first restaurant in Wichita, Kansas. 2 years later, another pair of brothers in Michigan named Tom and James Monahan bought a pizza place called Dominic's. After spending one evening at Dominic's during a busy dinner rush, James decided he couldn't handle it anymore, and he made what would later become one of the worst business decisions of all time. His brother Tom traded a used Volkswagen Beetle for 50% stake in what would later become Domino's, which as of 2024 is worth over $14 billion. I mean, I heard they're a reliable vehicle, so maybe it was a good trade. Also, I just showed this early photo of Dominic's, and I can only imagine that this is the multi-billion-dollar VW Beetle. Let's fast forward to the 80s, where the pizza wars begin to heat up between these two pizza heavyweights. By 1980, Domino's isn't even on Pizza Hut's radar yet. You see, at this point, they both serve pizza, but to two completely different demographics. Pizza Hut was known as a strictly dine-in restaurant where you would take your family. This way, you could get a fresh pizza straight from the oven to your mouth. Domino's, on the other hand, was known for delivering their pizza. Most of their orders came from military bases and college campuses. Pizza Hut didn't see them as competition. It was kind of how Blockbuster looked at Netflix as just some movie vending machine you found outside of grocery stores. Pizza Hut at this point is flying high because they just introduced their signature pan pizza, and everyone loves the taste of the crispy on the outside, soft on the inside crust. Then in 1984, Domino's would drop a bomb that would change the pizza landscape forever. They began offering their 30-minute guarantee.
30 minutes, great.
If a pizza wasn't at your door within 30 minutes of you ordering it, it was free. What Domino's had to combat with being known as the delivery franchise was the stigma that the pizza would taste like cardboard, or the cheese would stick to the top, or even it would arrive cold. The creative minds in Domino's advertising came up with the idea for a bad guy mascot to serve as the embodiment of the bad quality associated with food delivery, while also driving home the fact that their food would be delivered hot and fresh. This is where they came up with the Noid, a Looney Tunes-esque character that would attempt everything he could to make sure that a Domino's pizza wouldn't be delivered quickly or efficiently. The Noid was to Domino's Pizza as Wile E. Coyote was to the Roadrunner. The idea for the Noid was sent off to Will Vinton Studios with some nightmare-inducing sketches that luckily would get a makeover. Look at these abominations. I mean, look at this one. He doesn't make me want to call and order pizza, he makes me want to call a priest. And this one over here looks like he just knocked on your door because of a court order to inform you he's moving into your neighborhood. Sorry, I got a bit off track. Where was I? Oh right, Will Vinton. If you watched my video on the California Raisins, you already know all about Will Vinton and his claymation animation. Interestingly enough, he helped create the Noid the same year the Raisins made their debut. Luckily for all of us, Vinton came up with these early sketches of what would become the Noid. Then, on September 22nd, 1986, the Noid made his television debut.
Whole Domino's pizza! We avoid the Noid!
Kids loved them, and that was all Domino's needed. Children across America were begging their parents to order Domino's pizza. Another quick connection to one of my previous videos? The voice of the Noid was done by Pons Maar, who was also Theodore Rex in the film Theodore Rex. Unlike the ill-fated Whoopi Goldberg and dinosaur vehicle, the Noid began to take on a life of its own, becoming a pop culture icon of the 80s. Domino's plastered his face on everything they could, including t-shirts, pencils, toy cars, pins. You want a Noid plushie? You got it. Plastic character toy? No problem. What's that? You'd like to know what time it is? Let me take a look at my Noid wristwatch. He made cameos on The Simpsons and the Michael Jackson film Moonwalker. Not only did the Noid get his own game on DOS in 1989 where you played as a delivery driver trying to avoid the Noid and his traps, but he got a full-length game in 1991 called Yo! Noid on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Get this, the game was made by Capcom. For those of you who aren't familiar with video game companies, Capcom is a legendary developer that created games like Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Mega Man, and one of my favorites, Ace Attorney. I decided to try out Yo! Noid for myself, but I don't know how to record gameplay footage yet, so I'm using this footage from Nintendo Complete on YouTube. Go check them out for complete playthroughs of classic Nintendo games, link in the description below. The game was actually pretty decent. It's a platformer where instead of avoiding the Noid like the commercial suggests, you play as the Noid running through New York trying to stop his green doppelganger. Red and green opposites? Kinda like a couple of plumbers I know. You're probably wondering, did I finish the game? Hell no. I kept getting murdered by this Elvis impersonator who was wielding a plunger for some reason. Now before we get to the darker side of the Noid, I thought you would all enjoy a quick funny story that I wasn't sure if it was true at first until I found this to confirm it. Pizza parlor owner says clown punched him. Bob Briggs owned the local Domino's Pizza at the time in Independence, Missouri when he sat down one day to watch the game, and this ad for Pizza Hut came on his screen.
If you know anything about this game, you know that some things never change. But if you know about getting great pizza delivered, you know that nobody stands up to Pizza Hut delivery.
Briggs got so pissed off by that commercial, he decided to don his Noid outfit, run down to the local Pizza Hut with a sign in hand and start promoting his specials at Domino's. He said he would match any promotions Pizza Hut was offering. Unfortunately for Briggs, across the street promoting Pizza Hut specials was Bobo the Clown. According to this article in the Bangor Daily News from August 26, 1991, Bobo the Clown came over and knocked him out. Just when you thought the pizza wars would stay as a Cold War, Bobo the Clown fired the first shot. Some may compare this to the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Okay, nobody does that. Alright, now that we had a laugh, it's time to take a more serious turn. There is no good segue into the downfall of the Noid. However, if you're coming into this already knowing the story, it actually started earlier than you think. Just like its namesake, the first domino to fall was in 1989 when Gene Kinder was struck by a man who ran a red light. The lawsuit ended in a $15 million settlement. Why do I bring this up when we're meant to be talking about the Noid? Well, as you know, the Noid was created to ensure consumers of Domino's quality and quickness when it came to their deliveries. With their promise of 30 minutes or less, the driver in the accident was rushing to deliver a Domino's pizza on time when he struck Gene Kinder with his vehicle. Unfortunately, it didn't end there. On May 25, 1990, a pizza truck allegedly trying to meet that 30-minute delivery window rushed down the rainy streets of the Indiana-Michigan border and struck the vehicle of kindergarten teacher Suzanne Wachop, killing her and injuring 3 of her sons and a friend. A court awarded her family $2.8 million in damages. These were contributing factors to not only the end of the 30 minutes or less guarantee, but the Noid's campaign as the mascot of Domino's. However, the real nail in the coffin for the Noid came 1 year earlier in 1989. A man named Kenneth Lamar Noid, struggling with mental issues, started to take offense with Domino's commercials as he assumed they were aimed directly at him. Kenneth Noid decided to take matters into his own hands. On January 30th, the 22-year-old Noid waited patiently outside the Domino's Pizza restaurant in Chamblee, Georgia. Employee Sean Burnstead recounted what happened next.
I opened the door and went behind the counter to take his order, and he immediately pulled out a gun, came around the counter, and he says, I want $100,000. He was explaining to me that he felt that Domino's Pizza owed him money because of the Avoid the Noid commercials.
Noid then asked for Burnstead to get Tom Monahan on the phone. He called the Domino's helpline, and while he did, Noid's patience began to run thin with the woman on the other side of the line.
About a second or two later, Kenneth pulled the trigger on his gun and fired a couple of shots into the ceiling, and the lady's demeanor immediately changed.
During the 5-hour standoff with police, Burnstead made Noid a pizza and tried to get on his good side. After Noid demanded the book The Widow's Son to be delivered to him, He had Burnshead go to the front door, and when he did, he ran out to safety. Kenneth Noid surrendered to police and was charged with kidnapping, aggravated assault, theft by extortion, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Many believe that this was the end of the Noid's run as Domino's mascot, but they continued with him for at least another year, stating that this was a freak accident that would most likely never happen again. Unfortunately, this story has a sad ending, as on February 23, 1995, Kenneth Lamar Noid took his own life. And sadly, that concludes the story of the Noid. Kind of. The Pizza Wars continued on in the decades to follow, both franchises growing larger as they fought. Pizza Hut introduced all kinds of weird pizzas, some that worked and some that didn't, like the hot dogs and the crust. And of course, they eventually introduced delivery themselves. Domino's went on to essentially say that their pizza was shit and that they're going to try a new recipe, which by all accounts seems to have worked as a bold campaign strategy. And then Papa John's jumped in on the Pizza Wars, which is a whole different rabbit hole I'm not going to go down.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Stay tuned. The day of reckoning will come.
The Noid made a triumphant return in 2021 for a Domino's ad promoting driverless delivery cars, and you can even play as him now in the Crash mobile game. In the end, we all have our pizza preferences. I grew up with Pizza Hut, so I'm always going to choose that, but it doesn't mean I won't eat Domino's either. I mean, it's pizza. Who's going to say no to pizza? What is your favorite fast food pizza place? No, seriously, I'm hungry after writing all this and I'm taking recommendations. What should I order? If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe. For everyone who liked this video, may your pizza be as delicious as the one in the Goofy movie looked. Bye, everyone.
I can't believe you, man. Whatever made you think your dad would fall for a stupid idea like that?